Well, can you believe it? We are actually back. My name is Ringo FM, and this is actually episode 14 of the Red Bull project. We are, I've kind of been gaslit into redoing this, actually. Um, but we essentially, when we last left off, I believe in the save would have been around February, March 2026. Um, we Personally, I had too much going on with work. Didn't have the time to make the videos as regularly as I could. Just had a lot of shit going on, essentially. So I just started playing the save offline, and I made a separate save file. So basically, I got to this point, which you'll see in the top right hand corner. There is the 16th of May, 2027. I then did a separate save file where I got just played on and sort of did things offline, and because I thought I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to bother with the videos anymore. I don't have the time, but I did save this as a separate one. If you have a little look, you'll see it's called something absolutely ridiculous, like Red Bull Project 3, Leave Club version 3. And so there was always a thing in the back of my mind that we were going to come back to it. But yeah, here we are. We did play a whole season. That was going to be this episode 14 was going to be, the season review of the whole season that had come afterwards. I did update on a Discord server I was in, certain things that did happen throughout that. So if you do want to get involved in any of the Discords, please let me know. They're not my Discords, they're other people's. But obviously, if people want to join, I'm pretty sure both those guys have been more than happy to facilitate that. But yeah, it's been an interesting one. You'll see we finished eighth in the Bundesliga this season. If I just click on our schedule, you'll see that results were pretty decent. We had a bit of a torrid time after the winter break between like February and March. It all went a bit wrong. We were in a really really good position around these areas, but it all just started going a little bit wrong. I'm just going to insert goal scorers into the columns here. Just so you guys get a view of that as well, because you'll see Direct Papelka just kept getting better and better and better. And then all of a sudden, just started dropping off. And it was really, really frustrating because he was one of the players, one of the three Czech lads that we brought in. I don't know if you remember from the last time we recorded, we brought in three Czech lads. He was one of them, and he just kept banging them in. We also had Andy Zakiri, who I believe in the last episode you've seen, he scored his first goal for us. Since then, if I click on the history, he's had two 14 goal seasons back to back. And for someone we brought in for 1.8 million, who was playing for us in the second tier, to then come up a league and score 14 goals as well, he's a great player. He plays predominantly up front, but he can also play off the right hand side. Have a little look every now and again. He's played as like an inside forward, and he did do that for us the season prior. This match engine now is completely different. I think it's like 1.14 or something daft like that. So this tactic that we were using, it is going to have to completely change. If you have a look, I ended up doing a custom clean slate. I'm going to have to completely rebuild the tactic, completely rebuild the team. I've had separate offline saves since, which, I've got an idea of how it works and where I want to go. But let's have a little look. If I go in the transfer history, then, as I say, this is the season we left off, 2025, 2026. You'd have seen the likes of Andy Sakiri coming in, Lyndon Bamba coming in on loan. Oh my God, this guy was just... He was just incredible, this guy. For that entire season, this guy was just unreal. Andy Zakiri, like Leonard Moser, Mike Denga, players like that came in. You probably wouldn't have seen a few of these. I don't think you'd have seen Akoku. He was a bit naff, if memory serves me correct. But then you would have seen a few of these outs as well. People like Lucas Kalunta, who was playing as I think we actually did play him as centre back, not as a right back, but he was great. He ended up going out. We basically just had to rebuild the team. People like Andrew Fisher going out, Johan Mina, who I remember when I first started, I thought this guy looks great for the level that we're at. And then it turns out that he's actually not that good at all. But such is the thing of FM. So if we go into the season after the season that we've just completed, we'll start with the outs first. Jamie Lawrence, big American centre half, is now playing for Germany. He was capped at under 20 levels for America, so he's obviously changed allegiance. He went out to Wolfsburg for £8 million. So when you're a club of our stature, you'll see we have to make money more than we can spend it. And if we click on the finances now, you'll have seen it earlier. We've now got £44 million in the bank. It's 49 million profit over the course of the season. So it says this month it's TV revenue and league finishes and transfer fees coming in at the end of the season. That's what that is for. A lot of people went out. We lost Bashiru Muhammad, who I went back and watched episode 13, and he was someone I was quite excited about. He never really hit the ground running. Pavel Kruner was another one. He spent the season out on loan. I believe it was at Wurzburg Kickers. It was. He played 6 games for us. He did score a goal, but he just never got the game time that he wanted. Like he got at the Kickers. He ended up going to Augsburg for 1 million. But for someone we signed for 50k, that it's just a bit of extra money, things in the back pocket, and then a couple of youth players going out, not the best. But we did make a couple of good signings. So if we do it from the date, this guy is insane. This guy is unbelievable. And on the save that I made the separate file and played offline when I thought I wasn't going to bother with returning to this, I think he actually did become the second best centre-back in the world. You have a look, we signed him for 11.75k. I believe if you go back on the videos, I think we signed him in 2024 on that pre-contract, but because of registration rules, he couldn't come in. He's came in now. Look at this boy. Look at that transfer value, 44 to 55 million. He's on 10 grand a week. As you see, he was playing for Botafogo SP. He came in and was playing so well. It says 6.68, but it was more of a necessity. He was playing so well and training so well, and I looked at his attributes and I thought, this guy is good. Brought him up, and as I say, the more we do this save, you will see how good this lad is. He is an absolute brick wall at the back. So, yeah, keep an eye out on him. We also then managed to sign Juan Larios on a free transfer from Leifering. He was on loan from Salzburg last season. But again, as we all know from people who have followed this save, the whole Leifering Salzburg thing is just, it's nonsense, really, a lot of the stuff that goes on there, but the less said about that, the better. Who else did we bring in? We brought in Vladan Nikolic, who is a new gen CDM. He's okay. He needs the game time. Very good mentally, not so good physically. He's probably one that we've just stuck in the reserves. Don't forget, I've not played this part of this save for a good few months now. I think the last time I was recording the video was in December, January. It's about 5 months ago now. We also brought in Osas Urigide. He was brought in from Weserbaden for 500k. He was playing, Weserbaden and Bournemouth. His stats, because obviously we do a little bit of Moneyball, do a little bit of everything. Statistically, he was as good as a wide centre-back as Lyndon Bamba was the season before. So if we have a little look, bear in mind he was playing Division Low, it was a 7.07. If I have a little look at Lyndon Bamba now, we'll see. I think he finished on something ridiculous for us, like a 7.8. 7.29. So he was as close to, but statistically, when I dove down into it, he was very good. We weren't going to get Lyndon Bamba back. He was 500k. He's a good player. He can play on the right-hand side as well. So he's been pretty safe, 28 appearances overall. This guy, Kobe Mainu, on another video that we looked at him. I think I identified him when he was maybe 18 on the save. He's great. 6 goals, 3 assists. He was playing, I want to say, a couple of different roles. I wasn't entirely sure what to make of him. You see, we started playing attacking midfield. We started him a couple of different roles, a couple of different things. But he seems to play better as an advanced playmaker. But he was popping up with a lot of goals. I called him Pogba. That was the way I described him. You see, he's still on a contract until the end of next season at Man United, but he's somebody I'll probably look to bring in again. Plays 1-2s, dictates tempo, looks for pass rather than attempting to score. I think is like an advanced playmaker in that hole there. He's great. He's so good. Purely the fact he can't tackle means he's not going to play in the centre of the park anymore for me. But yeah, we'll probably end up bringing him back in on another season-long loan. There was this guy as well. It was Max Adsalmi. He's the Finnish national goalkeeper, and he actually looks very, very, very good. Problem being, he's not actually all that good. 6.93 is obviously very, very good, but the step up. You see, he's conceded 10 and 6, and the 6.93 is because he's making a lot of saves. And you see, we lost a lot of games towards the back end of last season. But he was not as good as Oliver Christensen, who, despite only being 2.5 star worth of a player, Oliver Christensen, for me, is the better goalkeeper. You see, he played 27 games overall, 6.86. He's been our goalkeeper since we came to Bremen. He was unhappy. I think he wants to leave to play more first. He's been treated unfairly because we obviously brought Alt Salmi in. So we're going to promote, if I go back to the happiness, he wants to be a star player. That's what we've agreed. We're going to bring him back in as like the number one goalkeeper, unless we can find someone better for cheaper. And we're probably going to let Al Salmi go. You can see he's requested to go. He's wanted by Arsenal and Eintracht Frankfurt. So yeah, we'll probably just let him go. He's got a £7 million release clause. We're going to let him go. He was good. He was good. He was good value for money for what we brought him in for on a free. If we can get 7 mil for him and just let him go, that's fine. And then we got into a few of the regens coming in. Valbo was one of them. Look at this guy, 125k. He's good. He's very good. He's smashing it for Werder 2 down in. I think they're in the third tier. Let's have a little look. Werder 2. Where are they playing? Yeah, they are. I mean, they finished bottom of the third tier, so they're now going to be relegated down to the fourth tier, if I'm correct. Yes, they finished rock bottom. So that's something we've got to think about when we're getting all these loan players. Players who are we going to get them out on loan because they're not going to be playing at a high enough level for me now. But he's good. He's very, very, very good. We identified him using. If you go back a few videos ago of mine, you see a lot. I do a lot of like the data analysis stuff on like Tableau, or I'll do it through my scouting filters, which you'll have seen many a time. For those who have watched the channel, you will see he's one that we brought in using that. He's also, there's a loads of different methods of looking for these young players and finding them for cheap. Obviously, Brazil produces some unbelievable players. He is one of them. He's now reached that age where he's probably not going to develop training-wise. It's more game time. So I don't know who he's going to go out and play for, but he's on the loan list. Very good player. Lucas Selma's another one who come in. He's a 16-year-old Italian. He came in from Palermo. I quite like big strikers on this, as you'll have seen often in my saves. He's got a few mad traits. He's got likes around the goalkeeper and tries killer balls often, which is a bit weird for a big man, 6'2". I was trading in complete forward attack to try and train a bit of everything, but I'm going to go target man attack and we're going to just double down. We just want to make him the best target forward we can. He will stay at the club. He's going to be here for a couple of years before he develops. Marco Vogel's another one, came in from Sturm Graz, 20 years of age. I think he actually came on and scored. He did. He came on one game. He's played one game for us and he scored. Who was it against? Eintracht Frankfurt. It was a Bundesliga game as well. Yeah, it was. He actually played quite well. He played 30. How many minutes did he play? I don't even know. It was so long ago. So long ago. But developing quite nicely. Again, more of like a poacher. I was at that stage of the save where I wasn't sure whether we wanted to stick with the tactic, whether we wanted to twist. It was one of them, not entirely sure how it's going to go. He's definitely more of an advanced forward than a poacher for me. I'm going to stop training as final third. It's gone up slightly. He just needs the game time now. Once again, we've got him in the first team squad, but he's not really good enough for that. We'll probably try and move him onto an affiliate team or send him out on loan. But again, another good value for money. doing quite well for Sturmgrat's second team, so we brought him in. Robert Brands was another one, another Moneyball signing, as was Alvaro Castro. Jordan Gannon was just somebody who one of the scouts found, and I'll show you him in a minute because he looks quite good. Robert Brands, 600k, was playing a lot of games for PSV in the between the B team and the first team, and I thought, well, if he's good enough to play for a team that are consistently playing in European competition, if we have a little look, they actually didn't that season. Okay. Oh wow, that league table, Venlo. Holy shit! Can we have a look at historic league tables? Oh my god. Okay. Got off on a tangent here. Anyway, yeah, he's consistently playing for a good team in PSV. So we brought him in 600k, 6.5 rating, not the best, but again, he's just somebody who needs the game time. Oh God, I did some mad stuff on this. I've grown as an FM player. Especially on this particular game. But yeah, he's the backup to Juan Larios. Juan Larios is somebody who I think could probably play at a level above just because he's so physical. He probably could play at the level above. He's literally the backup. That's all Robert Brands will ever be. He'll probably develop into sort of that. Trying to think, just that, but like an Emerson, one of them players who's good, but he's never ever going to make amazing. Yeah, he's one of them. But yeah, he's decent. He can play in a few different positions. You can see he's played all over the back line for different teams. Yeah, he's definitely worth the investment. Alvaro Castro was one who come in. He came in for 3 million. Again, another Moneyball signing that we drilled our statistics into. 8 appearances, scores 1 goal. He plays 1-2s and he stays back at all times. I like him. I really like this kid. He was playing for Seville B. You see, he worked his way through the ranks, went up and down a few times. Never actually made it for Seville. But I think he's a good player. He's very mentally strong. He's actually very strong anyway. But again, he's 19 years of age. He needs that game time. I think as like ball winning midfielder, anchor, whatever. He's there to win the ball back. What have I got him trading in? Defensive midfielder support, and no, we're not going to bother with the passing. Um, he's a ball winner first and foremost. His teamwork's better than his positioning. So do we want support or do we want defend? We'll do defend because his position is better than his passing. And yeah, I think he's just going to be one who sits there, breaks the play up. Plays 1-2s is a bit but okay, stays back at all times. That I'm happy with that as long as he just passes the ball off to a better player. Wages are quite high, 17k, but at the time I probably he's a good little player. And then Jordan Gannon is the next one to come in. Look at that value. We paid what, 600k? Was that 500k? 675k from Dundalk. He came in and pretty much cemented himself as like the box-to-box midfielder in this team. He's only 19. He's got a lot of growth going in him. I love him. I think he's great. I think a pivot of him, Vera, or depending on the situation, Castro. We've got a very young and a very hungry sort of team around us there. He can play out as an inverted winger, which is, it's a feather in his cap. If he ever has to play that role, he can do. That's what I like about him. He can also play in the hole. He's a good passer of the ball. He's just got legs. He's got legs for days. 5'7". He's combative. Really good work rate. I think he's great. So I think we did quite good business looking back on it. We still made a profit from that season. The season beforehand, we made a big profit selling a few players, particularly players like Kleindice, Tiggs, players that we brought in for pretty much nothing and sold on for good money. Paul Seguin, Lucas Klunter, players like that. But we've got to look at it now from a... I actually implore a few people to do this. Go back to an older save that you might have left and then try and pick it up again. It's actually a lot harder than you think it would be because you've got to think about it in like what does this team need now? And if we have a little look at the ability ratings, Al-Salmi's going to go. Christensen's going to be number one, so we need another number two goalkeeper. So then you've got to go through your development centre and you're like, well, do we have players who are good enough to play? Why can't I see me under 21s? Do I not have anyone under 21s? Okay. Anyway, so we then then you got to go through and look. Is there anybody there who can come in? No, not really. We've got Hausner who's leaving. There's a few players wanted, not great potential. Like a few of them, aren't really going to push on. You've got players like Valber who potentially will push on. Then you've got the under 19s. Again, is there anybody there who can push on? Yes, there's a lot of players who look quite good. Youth intake wise, he was one who came in on the youth intake. William Sandio, he's great. But it's hard. It's hard to look back and go, have we got the credentials? Is there anybody there who can come in and help? No. So yeah, it is quite a hard sell going back to an older save. But this is what we're doing. This is how we are playing now because we've come back to the old save because I say I've been gaslit into it. But yeah, this was just more of the introduction into what has happened in that time. Everton nearly got relegated. I wasn't sleeping for months because of that, but we survived. So I'm happy. We got around it in the end. But you can still see it's a very. I still think it's quite a young squad. I don't know what the average age is, but you look and a lot of them are in like the mid to early 20s, and then a sprinkling of youth players in there. I just can't not look at my boy. And again, 22 appearances, 4 goals. What's happened to the man? What has happened to the man? Did we build a team around Luca Reichel and bring him back in? Or do we, we've got Derek Papelka who scored 13 goals at Bundesliga level, scored 27 and 58 games, a proper target forward, scores a lot of headers for us. Look at that. So do we build a team around Derek Papelka? Press him forward? Nah, you're a big target boy. What was I thinking? He's a big target boy, isn't he? He'll get better as he plays more game time. Andy Zakiri, again, we've got people like Nick Waltermead who were going to be gone. Jacob Ramsey, who was one of them signings that we made, who looked like he was going to be sensational. He's just sort of been average in the Bundesliga. He was good in the second tier. Very good in the second tier. Hasn't quite adapted to the jump up. Again, it's, run. I don't know whether it's a traits thing. He's more to me of like, he's more this, but attacking. So like an attacking advanced playmaker, somebody who's going to get the ball to feet and try and make things happen. So maybe we try and build the team around Jacob Ramsey being the star man. Who knows? Who knows? Nikolai Ramberg, another one who dropped off a cliff. A lot of these players who, in the last video you've seen, I mean, he's on big wages as well. 21k. Yeah, you're seeing a lot of these players and thinking, oh, these look quite good, but then the season progressed through, and in true FM fashion, they're not actually very good. I want to talk about this guy actually before we do leave it off. Andrei Schmisek, mate. What a player. His temperament, his personality, shocking. His personality is very bad. And you see a lot of the big FM YouTubers who are like, oh, don't do that. If he's got that, ignore him. He's volatile. He's confrontational. Oh, don't bother with him. I love this guy. As a centre half, I mean, 55k, went straight into the first team in the second tier, and then made that jump up to the Bundesliga and just became better. I think this guy and De Guinio at the back would be absolutely unbelievable. The problem is he's wanted by Villarreal and Hertha Berlin. And if I remember correctly, Villarreal, when I left the opposite save, they put big money in. And again, they play in European football. They've qualified for they're qualified for the Europa League. Yeah, it'll probably be hard to keep him, But if I had to have a choice of two centre backs, if we were going to be playing a 4-2-3-1, it would absolutely, in a heartbeat, beat Guineo and Smisek. Although they're both young, they're both just unbelievable. I mean, let's compare the two. Look at these two centre backs, mate. They're fast enough. They're decent enough on the ball, but we're not going to play out from the back. I've pretty much decided that's not my thing on FM. I'm more of a get it forward, get it fast, get it wide, get it up there. Aerially, they are so dominant, which means we can play a high line because they're so good in the air. It's going to take an almighty ball over the top of them to get past them. They are both above 6'2", I believe, as well. Really good mentals on Smisek. Defending wise, the Guineo's brilliant. Physical wise, they are both just quality players. If we have a little look at central defenders on defend, you see their heading's not great, but their jumping reach is both 17. Really good natural fitness on both lads. Good stamina. The Guineo's strength's a bit low. But he's very aggressive, so it's fine. Bravery's up there, anticipation's up there. So, two lads that we brought in for a combined total of what? 55k and 11k, 66k between two starting centre backs centre backs in the Bundesliga. And yeah, I think we're going to stick with them too as the starters. We're going to drop the back three formation, which means people like Mario Gila will probably lose out on their positions. We've got Urigide, Gila, Desdiedo, who can all play centre back. We've got Talaguibe, who was sort of the backup one. We're going to move him to the second team now. I've got a lot of work to do. We're going to have to drill down. We're going to have to see who we want to keep. But it's looking good. I mean, if we go, let's say we'll go for what we were thinking of here. So let's pop Jacob Ramsey in there. I don't know whether we can get Kobe Mano back, but if we can, great. If not, it's not the end of the world. We're going to have Andy Zakiri up front. No, we're not. We're going to have Derek Papelka up front. We're going to have Andy Zakiri as the I'm going to play inverted wingers. I'm more of a fan of attacking inverted wingers than I am on any sort of inside forward. I think because the wingers are they're told to pass as well, so it's the whole thing of making a decision when they get there. If you've got someone who's decent enough with decision making, I mean, as an inside winger, Zakiri's great, so I'm more than happy with that. Again, sweeper keeper, we're not going to bother with. We're just going to stick Christensen to what he's good at. He's a good shot stopper. His distribution's not great, but he's a very good shot stopper. He's good in the air. He's good at rushing out. His reflexes are good. He's a proper shot stopper. So we're just going to play him as that. We're not going to try anything else. We would definitely have Larios and Ethan Laird either side. Wing backs purely, I'm going to do support. I do prefer them on support so they don't necessarily just bomb to the byline all the time and leave you exposed. But more so because they are both rapid and they can both cross a ball, they can both tackle, they can both, they can hustle. I'm fine with that. And we can stay them wider because if we're going to have Ramsey, Sakiri, and who we're going to have on this side, we might have to look at this side because we've not really got anyone. Renberg can play it. Cuts inside from the left wing as well. Maybe it's a position for Renberg. I don't know how much money I'm going to get. You might have seen my transfer budget before was shocking. Why is that there? Is it because he's got runs with the ball down the right? Well, it's fine because he's got cuts inside from left wing. But yeah, maybe Renberg there. And then again, as we said, we've got a decision to make. We've got Ramsey as an advanced playmaker on attack. I get that. But we've got Fausto Vera, who is just the creative outlet in this team, dictates the tempo. He's always played as a deep line playmaker for me. Can play as an anchor man, can play as a defensive midfielder. He's sort of got that whole attribute thing about him. Yeah, I think Vera's got to start as get the ball, lay it off. He's got a good passing range, so he can play. Ooh. He won't support the attack, so that's fine because man can't shoot. And then we've got again, depending on the situation, I think the 4-2-3-1 actually suits this team quite well. We've got Gannon, who's a proper box-to-box. We've got Finn Becker, who is a bit of a hybrid between a box-to-box and a playmaker. Very good passer. Like, again, he's got what's this? Gets forward whenever possible, rounds the goalkeeper, dictates tempo, stops play. Um, if you... I've spoken about this in the past. A lot of the stuff, the traits, if you actually highlight it and it shows like highlight what it says, a lot of the time it's not actually what you think. It's kind of like dwells on ball. Dwells on ball seems quite bad when you think about it, but if you highlight it, it says about players with bad decisions. So when they've got the dwells on ball trait, it doesn't mean that they just stop. It means that they just take an extra second to make that decision. So if you've got, let's say, here we go. Here's one for you. This looks like a personal attack. It's not. Ross Barkley is an unbelievably talented footballer. Yeah? Oh my man's playing for Aberdeen. Right. He's an unbelievably talented footballer. On FM, they've obviously nerfed him because he's not been playing well in real life. That is sad to see. Holy hell. Good passing, good dribbling. He's good getting up and down the pitch. He can shoot. He's either footed. I love Ross, okay? He has got fucking Play-Doh for brains, mate. So, he might try killer balls often, which is, the frequency at which he will attempt them, but he's not going to make the right decisions when he's doing it. If you could train dwells on ball on Ross Barkley, I guarantee you he'd be better than if you had tried killer balls on him because he takes the time to think about the pass he's going to play. And this is quite similar to someone like Finn Becker. As I said, he's a bit of a hybrid. He can do a bit of everything, goes around the goalkeeper, dictates tempo. So if you have a little look at stops play, it increases and coming to a stop and possession to stop and assesses options. His decision making is really good, so he doesn't need that. He doesn't necessarily need that, particularly because he's good at passing as well. So maybe even Finn Becker can play in the hole, which it looks like he can. It's saying he's better as like a support, which makes sense because he likes to stop the play and have a little look. But he also gets forward whenever possible. He rounds the goalkeeper and he likes to take tempo. So I actually think he's more of an attacking advanced playmaker. So maybe even Finn Becker can play there. And again, it's you can see I tried a lot of different things with this team and I couldn't really settle on anything. But I've got a good idea sort of just doing this of how we want to do it and how we want to play. I think we need to get the ball forward to Popelka quickly. We need to get the ball wide. We need to let the wide players occupy the space and then let players like Ramsey, Larios, Laird, and just sort of let them play their game. So yeah, we're going to try and make a tactic based on that. The other centre mid, again, I think Jordan Gannon, again, purely because he's left-footed and he can do a bit of everything. I love Jordan Gannon. But again, we've also got Alvaro Castro, who can sort of play this role. I think we play Gannon as a box-to-box. And then if we ever have to play Alvaro Castro, we change this to a ball-win midfielder on defend, and we change Vera to a supporting deep line playmaker and sort of let him and Ramsey play off each other. I think that's a good foundation for a squad. As I say, I think what we want to do, we want to focus the ball down each flank. We're not going to look for the overlap because that makes players sort of dwell on the ball a bit more than we want to do. We want to float the crosses because we've got the big boy in the box in Popelka. Do we want to play wide? I'm not entirely sure. I'm quite happy leaving the final third as is and just letting the players make those decisions for themselves. I don't want to overcomplicate this tactic. We're going to counter when we win it. I'm going to lead... Do we want to counter press? Let's counter press, but not counter. Let's do that. And we're going to do distribution to a specific position, which is going to be over the top to direct Popelka. He's not got the best kicking range, Christensen. I think it's 8. It is 8, and his vision's 8. But because we're going to have so many people sort of in and around, it'll cause more problems than anything. Out of possession, as we said, we're going to play a higher line because we can. We've got the pace and the wing backs to get back, and we've got Deguino and Smisek who can win those headers. So we want to press the opposition into making those long balls. It's kind of like Liverpool do with Van Dijk. He wins so much, Van Dijk, because he's so big. He just sweeps up at the back. Any ball over the top, he's quick enough to drop back and get it. If he doesn't have to drop back and get it, he's going to nod it away. That's my thought on it. We're going to trigger the press more often, and we're going to leave it at that. I'm not going to have prevent short goalkeeper distribution on, because a lot of teams won't go short against us. We'll sort of pick that as and when. We are going to play with an attacker mentality, though, because I want us to just get at people from the off. I want these guys to stay wider as well. Think David Villa, Thierry Henry, Pedro, Messi. Start off wider and then move your way in, because it stretches the play. So these are going to occupy spaces. Papelka can then knock it through. You're going to have Ramsey running in. It makes sense to me on paper. I think that's what we're going to go with. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to go away. I'm going to leave that video there. It's been about 35, 40 minutes. So thank you very much if you are still here. The Red Bull project is back. Maybe we're still going to look at getting into Red Bull Leipzig one day. We never know. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. The Red Bull project is back in full swing. I love you all. Thank you very much. I've been Matt, and I'll see you all next time.